Why regular cycling has changed my life at 84. It all started with a wobble and a dream. When I was 8 years old, I got my first two-wheeler. It was red, shiny, and had the kind of personality you couldn't buy from Sears. I named it Bullet Knot because it was fast, but because I once crashed it into a neighbor's metal trash can so hard, it left a dent that's probably still there. But despite the bruises and scraped knees, and one traumatic encounter with a rosebush, I was hooked. That bike gave me my first taste of freedom. It was my ticket to adventure, my escape pod, my convertible Cadillac with banana seat and rusty chain. I never looked back. Now I'm 84, and guess what? I'm still riding, still pedaling, still getting strange looks from neighbors who thought I aged out of spandex somewhere around the Clinton administration. From 10Ks to two wheels, the switch that saved my knees and sanity. In my 40s and 50s, I was a runner, a real one. Not a guy who jogs around the block in jeans and calls it cardio. I run 110K races. That's over 600 miles of officially sanctioned pavement punishment. I had medals, bib numbers, and enough runner's high to start a street corner pharmacy. But by the time I hit my 70s, my knees had something to say about it. And let me tell you, they weren't whispering sweet nothings. Every step felt like I was crunching gravel inside my joints. They started sounding like an old man trying to open a jar of pickle slots of effort, very little reward. That's when I knew it was time to hang up the running shoes. But I wasn't ready to stop moving. And so, back to the bike I went. Not a fancy carbon fiber rocket ship. Just a solid road bike that didn't talk back, didn't complain, and didn't require cortisone injections. When I turned 80, I gave myself a challenge. Not a cruise to Alaska, not a new recliner. I decided to ride 100 miles a week every week. That's right, 84 years old, and still out here flexing on the bike lanes like it's my own personal Tour de Suburbia. In winter, I ride indoors on my trusty stationary bike. She's a workhorse, a loyal steed. I've logged 27,000 miles on that machine, and she still hasn't thrown me off. She's got more mileage than some used cars I've owned. The digital display is starting to fade, but we have an understanding. I pedal, she tracks, and together we conquer. When the weather warms up, I head outside. I've got 3 regular rides every week like clockwork. Wednesday, a sweet 40-mile loop. I call it the middle child of my rides. Not too flashy, not too brutal, just dependable. Friday, a 20-mile route that's half uphill, and when I say uphill, I mean the kind of climb where you start hearing your own heartbeat in your ears and wonder if you left your will updated. Sunday, another 40-mile ride. This one's spiritual, not in a religious sense, but in that my legs are burning, my lungs are howling, but wow, this sunrise is something else kind of way. I've got my routine, my routes, and my rhythm. It's a dance between me and the road. No e-bike, thank you very much. I pedal the old-fashioned way with 2 legs, a bit of grit, and a playlist that alternates between Sinatra and Springsteen. Now here's the part nobody tells you about being 84 and still moving. You start to feel like you're getting away with something. Cycling hasn't just changed my life, it's turned the clock back a few notches. It's given me strength, clarity, energy, and, yes, swagger. Let me break it down. 1. Physical vitality. My legs, stronger than some guys 50 years younger. My heart, steady as a metronome. I've got the endurance to do a 40-mile ride, come home, shower, and still make pancakes from scratch. Okay, sometimes from a mix, but it's still effort. My blood pressure is solid. My resting heart rate is low. And at my last checkup, my doctor looked at me, shook his head, and said, "Whatever you're doing, don't stop." 1. Mental clarity. There's something magical about the rhythm of the ride. It clears my head better than meditation apps or quiet walks. When I'm out on the bike, problems dissolve, ideas come, stress leaves. It's therapy with spokes. 1. Mood boost. You want to talk about endorphins? Cycling is my daily dose of joy. I get off the bike humming, sometimes singing, sometimes both, depending on how many squirrels I had to dodge. It's the secret sauce to aging well motion that feels like fun. 1. Community, whether they know it or not. The younger cyclists give me nods. The older walkers look at me like I'm part of a different species. The barista at my favorite coffee shop now calls me Iron Grandpa. I'll take it. Cycling has put me in touch with people, strangers, and neighbors alike who admire the effort. They smile, they wave, they honk, sometimes supportively. It keeps me connected. Now, people often ask, hey, why don't you use an e-bike? And I say, because my legs still work and I'm too cheap to buy another battery. Seriously, no shade to the e-bikers, but I like knowing that if I'm moving, it's because I made it happen. It's like cooking your own meal versus microwaving someone else's. One tastes better, the other just feels buzzing. Besides, if I ever do switch to an e-bike, I want it to be because I chose to. Not because I lost a bet or had one too many close calls with squirrels. There was a moment recently on a Sunday ride. I was cruising down a long stretch of road, morning fog lifting, wind in my ears. No pain, no fatigue, just movement. A car passed slowly and the driver, somewhere in his 30s, gave me a thumbs up. Then he shouted, "Legend!" I smiled. Not because I believed it, but because in that moment I felt it. Not bad for an 84-year-old with 27,000 miles on his exercise bike. Action steps. How you can start your own cycling story. So, you're not 84, or maybe you are. Maybe you're 60, 70, or 90 and thinking, could I do this? Yes, you can. Here's how. Start where you are. If you haven't been on a bike in years, that's okay. Find a quiet path, try 10 minutes, let your legs remember. You're not racing anyone except maybe your former, more sedentary self. Get the right gear. You don't need carbon fiber. You don't need high-end brands. You do need a bike that fits, a decent helmet, and a seat that won't make you question your life choices. Make it a routine. Pick 2 or 3 days a week. Make it sacred. Don't just ride when you feel like it, ride until you can't wait to feel like it. Track your progress. Mileage isn't just for bragging rights, though it helps. Seeing your numbers go up is motivating. And don't be surprised when 5 miles turns into 10, then 20. Enjoy the journey. Smile, wave at strangers, celebrate the sunrises, laugh when you go the wrong way. It's not just exercise, it's experience. Final word. The road is still open, and so am I. Cycling didn't just keep me active. It gave me something to look forward to. A rhythm. A reason to lace up my shoes and hit the road. At 84, I'm not slowing down, I'm gearing up. If you ever see me on a trail nodding along to music in my head, legs churning like I've got a date with Destiny or at least a bagel shop, you'll know what's up. I got my first bike at 8 and haven't looked back since. Follow.